In this video, we want to solve for x given the square root of x times the square root of x times the square root of x times the square root of x is equal to 27. So, to begin, let us square both sides of this equation. So this takes care of this, leaving us with this. So we have x times the square root of x times the square root of x times the square root of x is equal to 27 raised to power 2. Let us go ahead and square this again. Now, here we need to apply this law of indices. A times b raised to power m. By law of indices will give us a raised to power m times a raised to power n. And also, a raised to power m raised to power n will give us a raised to power m times n. So we apply this to the left hand side of this equation, which will then give us x raised to power 2, then times the square root of x times the square root of x times the square root of x raised to power 2 is equal to, applying this second rule to the right hand side, will now give us 27 raised to power 2 times 2, which is 27 raised to power 4. So this cancels this, and we are left with x raised to power 2 times x times square root of x times square root of x is equal to 27 raised to power 4. Then, by law of indices again, a raised to power m times a raised to power n will give us a raised to power m plus n. So this is x raised to power 2 and this is x raised to power 1. We can write that as x raised to power 2 plus 1, then times square root of x times square root of x equal to 27 raised to power 4. So this gives us x raised to power 3 times square root of x times square root of x is equal to 27 raised to power 4. I'm going to square both sides again. So this becomes x raised to power 3 raised to power 2 times square root of x times square root of x raised to power 2 is equal to 27 raised to power 4 times 2 here is 8. This will give us x raised to power 3 times 2 is 6. This cancels this. So we have times x root x is equal to 27 raised to power 8. Let's tidy this up. This is x raised to power 1. So by what we did earlier, the law of indices we applied, to also apply to this to give us x raised to power 6 plus 1, then times square root of x to give us 27 raised to power 8. This is x raised to power 7 times square root of x is equal to 27 raised to power 8. Let us square both sides again. So this gives us x raised to power 7 raised to power 2 times the square root of x raised to power 2 is equal to 27 raised to power 8 times 2 here is 16. So we have x raised to power 7 times 2 is 14. Then this cancels this. We have x is equal to 27 raised to power 16. This is x raised to power 1. Then we have x raised to power 14 plus 1 is equal to 27 raised to power 16. This will give us x raised to power 14 plus 1 here is 15 is equal to 27 raised to power 16. Now, in order for us to get x, we need to find the 15th root of x. This will be expressed as the 15th root of x raised to power 15 is equal to the 15th root of 27 raised to power 16. Fifteenth root of x raised to power 15 is the same thing as saying x raised to power 15 divided by 15, because 15th root is 1 over 15. So this becomes 27 raised to power 16 divided by 15. So this cancels this and we get x is equal to 27 raised to power 16 over 15. So we can say this is our final answer, but let's leave 27 in its basic form. This is going to give us 27 here is 3 raised to power 3, then raised to power 16 over 15. 3 here is 1, 3 here is 5. So we get x is equal to 3 raised to power 16 over 5, which is the final answer to this problem. So we got x is equal to 3 raised to power 16 over 5. To verify that this is correct, we'll do a quick check by simply substituting this value into the given equation. Square root of x times square root of x times square root of x times square root of x is equal to 27. Now, starting with the square root of x here, square root of x is equal to square root of 3 raised to power 16 over 5. This is the same thing as saying 3 raised to power 16 over 5 times 1 over 2, which will give us 8 over 5. So we say 3 raised to power 8 over 5. So we go back here and then do this. So we have square root of x times square root of x to give us square root of x. Now we got x as 3 raised to power 16 over 5. So times all of this is this. So we have 3 times 8 over 5, which will then give us this square root is raised to power 1 over 2. So all of this raised to power 1 over 2. So because the bases are the same, so we say 3, then raised to power 16 over 5 plus 8 over 5 will give us 24 over 5. 2 here is 1, 2 here is 12, giving us 3 raised to power 12 over 5. So that's that for these two. Now we go back into here and extend over here. This is going to give us all of whatever we get raised to power 1 over 2. And x was 3 raised to power 16 over 5. Now times the new value we just got, which was this. So 3 raised to power 12 over 5. This will give us 3 raised to power 16 over 5 plus 12 over 5 raised to power 1 over 2, giving us 3 raised to power 28 over 5 raised to power 1 over 2. 2 here is 1, 2 here is 14, so we have 3 raised to power 14 over 5. Now we go back to the last one, which is all of this. Square root of x times square root of x times square root of x times square root of x. Know that this x is not in this curve. Is equal to, so this will now be whatever we get raised to power 1 over 2. X was 3 raised to power 16 over 5. Then times what we just got, which is 3 raised to power 14 over 5. So all of that raised to power 1 over 2. So let's tidy this up. This will give us 3 raised to power 16 plus 14 is 30. Then raised to power 1 over 2. 5 here is 1. 5 here is 6. And 2 here is 1. 2 here is 3. So we have 3 raised to power 3. So all of this, x times square root of x times square root of x times square root of x is equal to 3 raised to power 3. And 3 raised to power 3 is 27. And if you remember in the equation we were given, the equation was square root of x times square root of x times square root of x times square root of x is equal to 27. And now, after putting the value of x and simplifying this, we also got 27. So since we now have the left-hand side to be 27, now equal to the right-hand side, which is also 27, it then confirms that the value we got for x is correct. So x is 3 raised to power 16 over 5. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.